Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to join us at the webinar of Enabling Technologies for Smart Healthcare, Contactless Remote Monitoring Technologies. I'm Tina, your MC for today's event. Today's event is jointly organized by Bureau of Foreign Trade, TAITRA, Taiwan External Trade Development Council, and National Taiwan University Hospital. In today's program, we're honored to have prominent leaders from our hospital, research institute, technology and medical device companies to share their expertise and experience on healthcare IoT and AI and pandemic prevention. To begin with, we'd like to invite Executive Director of Service Industry Promotion Center of TAITRA, Ms. Vanessa Zhang, to give us the opening remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. To all our dear friends and partners watching online from Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Vietnam, Pakistan, and Taiwan, thank you for being here today. It is a great honor to welcome everyone to attend the Smart Healthcare webinar on behalf of the Taiwan External Trade Development Council, TAITRA. I sincerely hope that all of you are safe and well as we fight this global COVID-19 pandemic together. Taiwan is one of the many countries that is least impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Well-trained and experienced teams of officials and medical personnel were quick to recognize the crisis and activated management structures to address the emerging outbreak. Also, the role of technology plays an important role in Taiwan's COVID-19 response. The government has utilized and deployed technology extensively to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, and the results were phenomenal. The COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated the transformation of information technology in the medical sector. Intelligent medicine helps hospitals to detect complications accurately with fewer personnel and can even benefit preventive care. In today's webinar, we have invited the program's partner to share the new Hypoxia alert platform, including Taiwan National University Hospital, Industrial Technology Research Institute, Microsoft Taiwan, and the TaiDoc Technology Corporation, unveiled a blood oxygen monitor platform and mixed reality headsets to help medical workers combat silent hypoxia in COVID-19 patients. The equipment was developed to facilitate zero-contact treatment methods and reduce hypoxia days. I believe that through the mature exchanges of the webinar, we would like to see more cooperation between Indonesia and Taiwan in the future, particularly in the fields of technology innovation and the healthcare sector. Finally, thank you again for your participation. We wish all the distinguished guests good health and all the best.
Thank you, Ms. Zhang. And next, we'd like to invite CEO of International Medical Service Center of National Taiwan University Hospital, Dr. Jiayu Zhu, to share a few words with us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is our great pleasure to hold this Smart Healthcare webinar with TAITRA. We all know that smart healthcare is an emerging trend in modern medicine, and most importantly, even in the pandemic. Today, we invited several distinguished experts in this field, including Professor Zhang Li, the Vice Director of Center of Intelligent Healthcare in National Taiwan University Hospital, and also our collaborators and partners in this field, including ITRI, Microsoft, and TaiDoc. I hope we could exchange our ideas and have fruitful discussion in this webinar, and most importantly, to find interesting touch point for future collaboration. Thank you for joining us. I wish you a very happy afternoon.
Thank you, Dr. Zhu. It's an honor to have all of you joining us today. Moving on to the presentations. During these sessions, you're welcome to submit your questions or comments in the online chat room. We will be collecting questions and invite the speakers to answer during our Q&A session at the end. The first speaker is Dr. Jianzhang Li. He is the Vice Director of Intelligent Healthcare Center of National Taiwan University Hospital. His topic today is novel wearable and contactless monitoring devices to detect deteriorating patients. Let us welcome Dr. Li.
Hi, everyone. This is really my pleasure to participate in this very meaningful event. Today, I'm going to share you with the NTUH experience on novel wearable and contactless monitoring devices to detect deteriorating patients. We know that one of the unique features of the COVID-19 is the silent hypoxia. We have not observed this condition in other disease before. The condition describes a situation that oxygen levels plummet extremely low while the patient is still talking or working. So I will show you how sad and how dramatic this kind of hypoxia will occur in a patient with COVID-19. Our videos of the street recorded a very rare event. There was a Irish man about 58 years old. One night he was walking in the street of Taipei. Then a few steps later he started to collapse. Then all of a sudden he lost his vitals. Then the CPR fails. Finally he proves to be COVID-19 positive. So these patients just illustrate how sudden, how dramatic that silent hypoxia would occur in apparently healthy young man. So I would like to show the video to all of you. So this is very rare recording that a young man was found to very few minutes before his collapse.
晚间外籍男子从人行道走出过马路，走了几步后，身体突然出现异状。只见他踉跄几步倒地，就连鞋子都飞了出去。警方巡逻发现，联系救。
So you can see, unlike our previous medical experience, when a patient have acute respiratory failure, one usually would have a face that he breathe very difficultly or have the dyspneic sensations. But you can see obviously in this middle-aged man that he did not have this face. He just feel okay before his collapse. So the mechanism behind this silent hypoxia is because the oxygen, you can see the red line, plummet very quickly to the extremely low levels. But the carbon dioxide, which is the blue line, rise very slowly. Our brain, our respiratory center actually are triggered by carbon dioxide rather than the hypoxia. So if the oxygen level plummet before the rise of the carbon dioxide, one cannot feel the dyspneic, the difficult breathing sensations. So this is how that these patients feel okay before a sudden collapse. There was also a recording in the Paris pre-hospital EMS. EMS means that the emergency medical service, which is the ambulance systems. They compare the conditions between COVID and non-COVID patients who develop acute respiratory failures. The horizontal axis is the respiratory rate, and the vertical axis is the saturation of oxygenations. You can see that the red square areas for COVID-19 patients, there's a group of patients who have hypoxia but they did not respond with increased respiratory rate. Instead, their respiratory rate was in the normal range, which means these patients do not sense that they really have hypoxia. So we can see that there are actually a lot of patients, their own sensory systems cannot detect these very severe conditions. We need out-of-hospital monitor for these patients. So this is educational videos in the UK. The NH system in UK start to promote COVID oxygen oximetry at homes. So they encourage the people to buy a simple oximeter and use them at home. However, there are several smartphones claim that they can detect the oxygenations. They do not need a formal medical level oximetry. But after validation studies, we found that the smartphone oximeters are unreliable and should not be used for monitor at home. And the oximeter actually use red LED and infrared LED to detect the oxyhemoglobin, and so they can reflect the level of oxygenation in your body. The WHO recommend that people with fever, cough difficulty, or increased respiratory rate, or with emergency signs of COVID to use pulse oximeter at home. But from the video I showed you and from the facts I showed you, we urge to use more liberally. For my personal opinion, I think every COVID-19 positive patients should care with the oximetry at their home if they are not qualified for admissions, because this kind of risk just cannot be predicted. So what is the abnormal pulse oximeter readings? The normal range is between 94 to 98%. But if a patient got a reading of less or equal than 92%, that means they have a severe COVID-19. 93 to 94 is a moderate disease. And the trend is also important. When there is a drop in saturation of 3% or more during exertion, it is usually considered abnormal. But the nocturnal fall up to 3 to 5 actually is considered normal. In UK, they do not have an IoT device, so they recommend the people at home use what we call the COVID-19 diary to record their own pulse oximetry 3 times a day. But they just cannot interpret this data by themselves. So in Taiwan, actually, people come from other countries or foreigners have to stay in the quarantine hotel for 14 days. And some of them actually later developed COVID-19. So we need a device to monitor the oxygenation for people stay in the quarantine hotels. So this is how we develop the systems with Microsoft TiDoc and ITRT. We want they have a device that can monitor their oxygenations, their temperatures, and their respiratory rate. Then they can transmit these data, use the internet Wi-Fi or the 5G or 4G outside their hospital or hotels. So the healthcare staff can read, can interpret these data outside the hotel or the hospitals. So this is our systems. We have a blood pressure measurement. We have the body temperature measurement, and we also have oximetries. These all 3 devices can connect it with a gateway through the Bluetooth, and the gateway can transmit the data through the 4G to the cloud. And later, they will show in our station with the dashboard that the physician can read the heart rate, saturation, temperature, and his subjective feeling. So we can continuously monitor this patient even they are out of the hospital settings. And the whole systems can further develop use the modern AI technology in the cloud. So in the future, they can even develop into auto-interpretation, spontaneous alert systems by the AI technology. So this is the dashboard which shows the heart rate, saturation, temperature, and subject feeding. And this is the real-world settings that you can see the nurse can monitor the patients in the stations, and they do not have to contact the suspect COVID patients and reduce the PPE and reduce the exposure risk. And in addition to the IoT of the oximetries, we also apply the new technology of mixed reality, virtual reality, use them as a device to communicate inside the isolation room and the station's physician and nurse. So if a patient got a COVID positive and they have severe conditions, they will be isolated in a negative pressure, isolated ward. So the principle is that we do not want a lot of medical staffs exposed to these patients. So one of our medical staff actually can wear the HoloLens 2. HoloLens 2 is the latest device of MR/VR headset. The lens actually can serve as a big holographic screen, so the staff can read the electronic medical record and image from the HoloLens itself. And also they can use their gesture as like a virtual mouse to control the web-based EMR systems. And HoloLens has a camera, so they can bring the image from the staff's angle to the teams outside the isolation room. HoloLens also enjoys the bidirectional voice communication functions, so the staff inside the isolation room can communicate with staff outside the isolation room. So this is, I demonstrate how to use the gesture to control the image viewing. Actually, from the lens, you can see a 200 inches screen of the CT image, which is more clearly than the traditional LCD panel. And this is the nurse who visit the isolated patients. And so from the HoloLens she used, we can see the patient from the same angle at the stations. So we also can communicate with the patients, with the nurse directly without any delay. So this is my last slide. In summary, COVID-19 accelerated the development of contactless care technologies. The Internet of Medical Things, which is called IoT-based vital sign monitor, enable the contactless and remote monitoring of COVID-19 patients outside the hospitals. The MR/VR headset realized contactless care in the isolation room. They serve as a virtual screen to view EMR and image at the bedside. The gesture or voice can command the distant computer. You can retrieve the data. You can order tests. You even can order the medications. And the moving video voice communication systems makes the communications between station and isolation room very convenient. Finally, I'd like to thank you all the partners from the Microsoft Azure team, from the ITRT, from the TiDoc, and from the Wave information companies. We also thank you all for your attention, and I wish all be safe and healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee, for this wonderful presentation. For the next speaker, we have Dr. Sen-Yi Zhou. He is the Principal Engineer from Industrial Technology Research Institute. He will be introducing to us the Silent Hypoxia Alert Platform. Please welcome Dr. Zhou.
Hi everyone, I'm Shen Yizhou, come from E3. E3 is a non-for-profit R&D organization engaged in applied research and technical service. From in 1973, E3 have played a vital role in transforming Taiwan's economy from a labor-intensive industry to a high-tech industry. We are focused on the three application demand: smart living, quality, healthy, and sustainable environment. We continue to link with global environmental networking and have branch office in United States, Japan, Germany, Russia, and each has a strong IP portfolio and provide comprehensive service for industry through a technical consultants along with its in patents and assistance of open lab and incubation. According to the WHO recommendation, checking blood oxygen level is an important measure. Pulse oximetry is used to check how well the patient's body is getting oxygen. If the patient's oxygen saturation is low when the patient has symptoms of COVID-19, it may mean the patient has a severe illness. That is the procedure of measuring oxygen level. Someone needs to warm their hands for increased blood circulation. The nail polish and the nails will affect the oximetry number should be removed or use nail without polish. The reading might fluctuate. The user has to hold the oximeter for 1 minute until the reading is steady. The human body requires and requires a very precise and specified balance of oxygen in the blood. Normal blood oxygen saturation level is in human are 94 to 100%. If the level is below 90%, it is considered low and called hypoxia. Blood oxygen level below 80% may compromise organ function, such as the brain and heart. Continued low oxygen level might lead to cardiac arrest. WHO restricts if the patient's oxygen level is between 90% to 94%, contact the healthcare provider or seek hospital care. If the patient oxygen level is below 90%, get immediate medical help. How could we measure loss as a COVID-19 pandemic? Through a cloud service. This is a silent Hypoxia alert system built on Azure. Display the statistical data on the dashboard of the control center through the cloud service. This solution could be deployed on quarantine hotel or hospital. We can know the occupation rate, the quarantine number, and the alert number. That information about quarantine hotel or hospital. We can read the telemetry data on this dashboard, the heartbeat and the blood oxygen level or other data, depend on what instrument you use. The solution can query the history data from database. Should those history data as a curve next to the real-time data. If a patient hit the condition that should be properly addressed, the service will issue an alert message through Teams, social media, or SMS to the healthcare provider. Also, the remote monitoring service will show the location of the patient on the map. This is the stack of the silent hypoxia alert service. IoT device contain the thermometer, pulse oximeter. The PASS service contain the IoT hub, the event hub, and digital twins, Cosmo DB, and some Azure function. The whole SaaS presents the static data of patient, the real-time telemetry data, the history telemetry data, and the real-time notification. This is the architecture of our platform. The data entry of our platform is an IoT hub. Azure IoT hub is the main Azure PaaS, which enable direction communication between IoT device and a cloud solution. IoT hub is the starting point for this solution, and it implements some essential functions that are common to IoT deployment. We develop some Azure function to route the different data pipeline. Azure function is a serverless compute server and service, and enable us to run event trigger call without have a provision or manage infrastructure. Being a trigger-based service, it runs a script or piece of code in response to events. Azure function can be used to achieve decoupling, high data throughput, reusability, and shared. Azure Event Hub is a big data streaming platform and event ingestion service. It can receive and process millions of events per second. Data is valuable only when there's an easy way to process and get tiny insight from data source. And Azure Digital Twin is a PaaS offering the enable that create the twin square feet based on digital models of environments, which could be quarantine hotel. This digital model can be used to gain insight that drive optimize operations. Azure Digital Twins plays a role of connect, assist, and exciting operation system. Use a robust event system to build dynamic operating logic and data processing. Integrate with data analytics and AI service to help us track the past and then predict the future. We use the digital twin to auto-routing the data flow, receive telemetry data, send to an AI model, and then send to a map service. The SaaS is targeted to reduce the loading of hotel as the COVID-19 pandemic. How we keep healthy and environment a better future. Thank you.
Thanks for Dr. Zhou's wonderful sharing. And moving on, we'd like to invite Mr. Daniel Lee from Microsoft Taiwan. He is the Director of IoT Center of Excellence. He will introduce to us the Healthcare IoT Metaverse for COVID-19 first-line workers. Please welcome Mr. Lee.
Thank you. And for all the friends in Southeast Asia and for the honorable guests on the spot, I'm really grateful for the opportunity, and thank you, Taitra, for making the efforts and connecting us to the world. And our center has a mission for accelerated modernization or digital transformation. For all the work we have with healthcare, we enjoy so much because that ties back to our vision to make everyone an organization to achieve more. And it also has the opportunity to connect us with the virtues and kindness with the work. So it's wonderful. And COVID is a challenge for us all. I think everyone in this webinar is a fighter. You fight for your work, you fight for your family. Here, with everyone, we fight for the goods for all the mankind and the society. So we're grateful. And in the past year, we see so many changes, constraints to the healthcare organizations. There's some historical shift that we may need to use the cloud to do more and securely. And we see the rise of contactless care or virtual care or clinical revolution. There's some scientific revolution and findings through artificial intelligence, through genetic engineering, through computer vision, various clinical progress. So we're very grateful that COVID is, in fact, advancing our healthcare modernization. And we're talking about two things today. One is healthcare IoT. Dr. Lee and Dr. Chow have mentioned some of the motivation and some of the detail with our one applications using Microsoft Azure IoT. So we're going to light touch upon that. And then I think metaverse or the mixed reality is such a huge and hot agenda in these days. So we'll also share some of the high-level ingredients, what's in there for metaverse or mixed reality. In addition, we'll bring something in real life, in addition to some of the examples, we'll share that with you. The time is limited, so we hope this is the opening opportunity. The goal is to encourage you to work with us. Even though you're in Southeast Asia, but please be encouraged to reach out to us. We'll be very happy to see how we can benefit our work to you, to us directly, through Taitra, Taiwan government, or Microsoft local office. And in the past 1 year, we've done something for the better good of the COVID-19 response. So we see the constraint and challenges of the first-line workers, labor constraints, limitations, healthcare concerns. And so a couple of examples, we're doing that, leveraging Taiwan high-tech ecosystem. So we can do things fast, do things secure. We can share the benefit to broader ecosystem, not only in high-tech, but healthcare institutions. We had the mask and thermal detection in one piece. So we're using the artificial intelligence, computer vision, and we adjust that by the environmental variables like the temperature, like the fans and the movement of the people, and we combine them together. We open source that and to share that back to our high-tech community. So today, when you enter many building organizations, you see the thermometers and the mass detection, and many of them coming out of the result of our work. And you have seen some of the great stories and how do we do it on the silent hypoxia, a remote monitor system. And we're also happy to release that as open source on the GitHub so everyone can use, be that you're a healthcare OEM makers or your healthcare institution, we're happy to help out. Social distancing, people counting has become a new norm. And we also push that out again as the open source for free for everyone can adopt. Contactless healthcare, that ties back to the mixed reality or metaverse world, where we're advancing the innovation of the healthcare industry. And this is project Asclepius. That's from Greek mythology, the god of healing. So this is the very beginning of how the projects get started. So you see we're using the IoT technologies for the continuous remote monitor. And this is another view on the dashboard. And this is the Azure IoT at the high level, and we don't want to bore you with the detail. However, you see we have a multiple industry concentration, and healthcare is certainly one of them. And we have some fully managed services with the aim to simplify the IoT. IoT sometimes is featured by complexity, and that leads to higher failure rate, but this is no more. Because in the past couple of years, we have made a tremendous progress to simplify the way we plan and implement. There are some developer services that make your life easier and to build your entry barrier to make your services more profitable. And underneath, we have infrastructure, data, AI, and of course, our unique app development, such as DevOps, CI/CD, and GitHub. And when we say IoT, we do something in particular to simplify the way we promote and push out the system to accelerate the modernization. So this is one of them. We call the IoT Central. So essentially, there's zero coding. And we use some fast-to-market templates. And here you see the continuous remote monitor for the healthcare. It's all built in. You only need to connect the hardware devices and do some modification, tweak the parameters, and then customize your user interface. You can see the historical and multiple time series data and the alert mechanism back to your phone. And continuous patient monitor, here we can see on the right-hand side, you see that we connect to the hardware hospital information system and connect to the HIS, healthcare data exchanges. And TaiDoc, Dr. Yang will have a great presentation after me, and they are one of our early partner that we explore the danger of the COVID and silent hypoxia and have some initial success, and we're very grateful for the partnership. And another one, just to share with you how easy we can build the Azure IoT devices if you're a hardware maker. So you see there's some sensors that goes to our toilet and everyday uses. We accumulate the big data so we can spot any anomaly on a timely basis. So they can sell directly to the senior long-term care agencies or the toilet OEMs for the better and more business. And then we talk about very quickly on the metaverse or the mixed reality. So metaverse, thanks to Facebook announcement 2 weeks ago, it's become a heated phenomenon of the world. So Microsoft has been in this field for quite a while. The scenario here, I think the difference is that these are all real, generally available for everybody can use. At the heart of metaverse is in fact it's something called digital twins that weaves the intelligent edge in the physical world as well as the virtual images or real images reflected on your health mount display or your iPad, Windows tablet from the intelligent cloud. And there are multiple scenarios. Some of the often we see from the healthcare system like simulation, training, analysis, monitoring, and we see with the metaverse coming in our life, it will also accelerate many digital transformation going forward. Mapping slightly back to Microsoft offerings, I think the key we mentioned is the Azure Digital Twins in between that connect to the physical and the virtual world above. So one of the popular head-mount display that goes with the metaverse is Microsoft HoloLens 2. We have many creativity and innovation. Apple from Germany is one of the leaders from Europe, in addition to Taiwan, on the holo medicine. So it has some novice innovation in artificial intelligence, processing the 3D imaging, and put that in the metaverse world, including HoloLens 2. And here's one of the early hospital adopting such metaverse implementation. The application is in two-fold, and it's in the a VIP health examination division, as well as their long-term senior care when the first-line healthcare workers are under severe constraint. So here's another example that we have done with National Taiwan University Hospital. So you see, this is the virus model of the COVID-19. On the molecular detail, we can navigate, we can have zoom in, zoom out, and we can dissect and easily explain the structure of the molecule. And here's another examples and how to do the training and simulation for students. We see the patient, inpatient, and some of the status. And we also see the vital sign. Maybe we just play this very quickly. And here we combine with the virtual avatar, and we have the guidance on what to do next step of the symptom. And on the right-hand side that we do not appear on the screen is the vital sign that connect back to the silent hypoxia project that we do through the Azure IoT. So lastly, we're working very, very hard to improve the life of mankind. We want to make our clinical engagement better. We want to make our healthcare operation better. We want to have the entire experience doing our healthcare much better. So thank you. That's from us today.
Thank you, Mr. Lee, for your wonderful sharing. Our last topic of the webinar is the flexible and integrable data collection with connected device solution in remote telecare application. The speaker is Dr. Lee Ping Yang. He is the project director of TaiDoc Technology Corp. Let us welcome Dr. Yang.
Good afternoon. It's my honor to introduce our flexible solution for telecare application. So, TaiDoc is founded in 1998. Our business model includes OEM, ODM, and also we have our own brand. We do design and the manufacturing of medical device and solutions. So the headquarters is located in Taiwan. We also have a subsidiary in United States, Canada, Japan, and Switzerland. All of our factories are in Taiwan, so all of our medical products are made in Taiwan. Telehealth solution includes different parts. So there are Bluetooth devices that measure physiological data from subject. And we need a gateway or a cell phone app that get data from the device and upload to the cloud server. And cloud server do the data storage, analysis, and management. We also need a management user interface that's used by the doctors and the hospital. So TaiDoc has developed all the solution for each part. So we could provide total or partial solution depends on partner's demand, depends on application. For example, the partner could just take our Bluetooth device and integrate into their own telehealth system. Or partner could take the Bluetooth device plus gateway solution and integrate into their cloud server plus user interface. So in silent hypoxia alert platform developed with National Taiwan University Hospital, Microsoft, and eTree, it used the solution include a Bluetooth device plus gateway, and they use their customized server and the user interface, so it could meet the Taiwan hospital's application scenario. So the solution is very flexible and integrable. So we have many certified medical grade connected device for many parameters. It includes pulse oximeters, blood pressure meters, thermometers, glucose meters, weight scale, etc. The all devices are certified by the FDA, CE, PMDA, and other regions by demand. We also have a different communication protocol for the device, include Bluetooth or 4G. We support different data upload paths for different application scenarios. For example, we have many apps for home use, hospital use, single parameter, like glucose only, multi-parameter, like SpO2, blood pressure, thermometer. Or we have a specific application app just for sleep analysis. For the communication protocol, we support, because the user need to download the app and do some setup. And every time when user want to upload the data to the cloud server, it needs to turn on the app every time. It's not very friendly for some users and for some scenario. So in this case, we would propose the Bluetooth to 4G gateway. With the gateway help, every time when user finish the measurement, the data will automatically get through the gateway and upload to the cloud server. So the gateway, one gateway could support multi-parameters, and it also supports different mode, like spot check mode for just single result each measurement, or support SpO2 continuous monitor mode that continuous transmitting the major SpO2 data to the cloud. And we also have a 4G integrated medical device, so it depends on the application. More and more customers are using our cloud-to-cloud solution for integration into their telehealth system. Let me explain the benefit of cloud-to-cloud solution. If we use cloud-to-cloud solution, it could save efforts for Bluetooth integration, the app implementation, and also data upload integration, such like of difficult work and many troubleshooting work. So they just need to transfer the data from the Fora cloud to his own cloud, and use his cloud server to do data analysis, AI algorithm, and develop his own management interface for doctors and hospitals or many kinds of applications. So that's the quickest solution that we want to have a telehealth system on our own. But there would be privacy and security concerns if data goes through like Fora server first and pass to the customer server. So what we propose is there's only device serial number and physiological data measured by the device pass through Fora server. And all the patient information and device serial number mapping, like this device belongs to who, such kind of information will maintain only at the customer server. So the Fora server will never know where is the data from and this data is by whom. So besides the simple device solution that I present before, we also have a high-end advanced multi-parameter VALT sign monitor, includes blood pressure, blood glucose, SpO2, and the temperature thermometer. We also have an interactive health kiosk and the HbA1c analyzer. If the hospital doesn't like the finger type SpO2 meter, we also have the handheld SpO2 meter for some more professional use. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yang, for your wonderful sharing. And moving on to the Q&A session, we have received some questions from the sign-up form and the online chat room. In this session, we will have Dr. Zhu to lead the Q&A discussion.
Okay, thank you very much for attending this webinar. We already have some questions from our online attendees. I think the first question would be, what are the basic healthcare equipment required for an engineering company, such as a pulse oximeter, oxygen concentrator, or more? This is a question from Impressive Age from Malaysia. I think I would like to ask Professor Lee to answer this question first. Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you, Professor Zhu. I think I have a dual role. I'm an emergency physician. I'm also a deputy director of the Center for Intelligent Healthcare. So from my point of view, I think the basic vital signs are temperature. So you have a thermometer, and saturation. So you need pulse oximetries. Then you need to have a blood pressure. So you need to have a blood pressure measuring machine. And the last one is the respiratory rate monitor machines. Currently, there is not really a automatic respiratory rate monitoring machines. So it is probably a niche market that you can develop such kind of device. The clinicians need this kind of device very urgently. But not only the machine itself is sufficient, as we demonstrated in today's talk. You need to have a system. The system can integrate these machines with the internet, with the hospital systems, so that they can integrate to the day-to-day practice of the physician's work. So these are my recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the equipment seems to be not so difficult, but problem is how to integrate the systems together, the equipment together to become an integrated system to monitor everything. Yeah. The second question is from Philippines, from Luis Ramon Rodriguez, and he wants to know if the companies already have distributors or dealers in the Philippines. Perhaps I could ask Dr. Yang to answer the question first.
Taiwan has distributor in Philippines, but the product the distributor owns doesn't include the Bluetooth communication. So if you are interested in the Bluetooth device that I present, then we may need another distributor that do the register for those kind of the Bluetooth device.
I think that Microsoft Taiwan would have some information regarding this question.
Yes, and we're about to say that Microsoft definitely have the regional office there. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll be taking a look at the ask and how to work with TIDAC at the very best.
Of course, you can contact the Taiwan Trade Center in Philippines, in Manila. They will provide some information for you, because we already have many Taiwanese companies, especially the IT companies, who are dedicated in this part. The third question is, when implementing the healthcare IoT to existing hospital infrastructure, it's a big question, I think. What are the most common obstacles or questions from the management level and from the staff level, and what is your recommendation for hospitals that want to integrate this kind of healthcare IoT? I think the best candidate for answer this question would be Professor Lee, because he's also based in the hospital.
Thank you for Professor Zhu. As Professor Zhu has mentioned, this is very difficult problems. To do a proof of a concept and to implement the system in the hospital is a total different things. So if you want to implement the systems, first of all, you need to identify the stakeholders in the hospitals. These stakeholders include the administration, IT staff, your medical department heads, and the frontline physicians, and also the nurse that use these devices. So the first things you need to get them together, sit on the table, and show the whole systems. So every stakeholder has to be involved from the beginning to design the whole system. Then they will be smoothly implemented in your hospitals. Without this process, if you only install this device alone into your hospitals, no one will use them. So the implementation actually is how you unite people from different disciplines, from different departments to work together to achieve one goal. So this is my perspectives. I hope that is helpful.
Yeah, I think that the correct mindset will be the most important state to improve this part, especially in the hospital levels. We know that physicians are traditionally very conservative to accept the new things. So find some good person, right person, like Professor Lee, in your hospital is a very important step to change everything, to be innovative. So that's why in our hospital, we develop this kind of a so-called intelligence healthcare center, because we want to find more people who are interested in this part. They can behave like physicians, but also the IT persons that can integrate both parts very successfully. The last question would be currently how many hospitals in Taiwan have implemented the silent hypoxia alert platform, and what kind of result can we expect to see from this implementation? I would ask Dr. Zhou for answering this question first.
It had a field trial in the Taoyuan General Hospital, and the first day we collect the data from the field, and we look inside the data, find out the trend of data, and build and predict model to predict the developing trend for the developing trend, so we can have the time to prepare how to measure this pandemic. Thank you.
Do you want to add something from our Professor Lee, or please, for Daniel?
I believe the silent hypoxia alert platform is pretty widespread as of now in Taiwan. I think there are a couple angles. Our project, we do have a few trials going on, and but Taiwan is lucky that I think we have managed to contain the COVID recently. And I think through TaiDoc platform, there are many applications in Taiwan and throughout the world. And there are some other brands of the sensors. I think such platform is pretty popular, and we encourage you to reach out to us, to speak with us more using TaiDoc, using other sensors. I believe Taiwan, as a team with you, will be happy to export our platform to you.
It sounds very interesting and exciting. And do you want to add something, Dr. Lee Zhang? Okay, Professor Lee, please.
I think the one thing I would like to remind you is that when you start to implement the system, you have to be very aware about the one phenomenon we call the information drownings. The first time we install this device in the hospital, or we ask the nurse opinions, actually they do not like this because they give too much information and they cannot interpret everything. So to continuous monitor oxygenation is one thing, but how to correct, interpret them to make a very meaningful alert, not to cause alert fatigue is also very important. So if you just set up the system, you do not expect that the physician or the nurse embrace this system at the first time. But after you develop all this system, a very sensible, a very actionable alert system, that they will like them.
Okay, thank you very much. If there is no more questions, I would like to close this discussion. And I think this is a very interesting topic to discuss. And I think this is just the beginning. I think we are very welcome for the future collaboration and questions. We keep in touch and see you next time. Goodbye. Have a good evening. Thank you very much. And thank you all the experts and attendees. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.